So let's just dive a little bit deeper into sort of the very specific case of trading against order flow. Now, again, obviously there can be a lot of variables to this. Just one very sort of, and that is basically if you're going to get against the bearish M15 order flow, that M15 order flow waiting, so this would be your eyebrows, your series of larger internal and lower highs and lower lows and lower highs or lows, but we've come into, let's say, the extreme swing demand level. That next swing high to get in long, doing it before price gets up here, right? Before it gets to that protected / strong internal lower high, right? This is what I was trying to say in the video, but this is a bit more of a better representation, right? So we can come into level, we see the entry model, etc., and we want to get in here. Ideally, it moves up and we're running in profit. Now we can either take partials, we can remove our risk, we can trail our stop loss, but essentially, obviously, is that bearish order flow can continue. And what I see happening often in maybe in good areas where they see the entry model up, but like price doesn't pull back and it goes straight up first. Then they draw on this. They go, okay, bullish M15 chalk in our 15 zone, or even just an M1 chart. It's a great level, but then price comes down, right, and it smashes them out. And the reason why is because we've come up, it has not been broken. It doesn't have to happen. They can improve your strike rate as much as possible. If price goes up like this and it doesn't tag you in initially, okay, what are some things you can look for in this instance? So what I mean by that is price has come up, has come back down, right? So at this point, as it's coming back down, you really want to get long because you have a high conviction this move is going to go. But what can we wait for in this instance if we didn't get tagged in here? Now we don't want to be buying against this, right? So sort of the main things you can wait for, and I've listed them here, one sort of in order of probability. All right, so the high stay on our hands and we wait for that bullish high boss. We want order flow to be disrupted. So then with the internal structure, align with the swing. But obviously sometimes, that might go, it can have a little back and it can just, etc., right? Confirmation doesn't wait for order flow to shift on your side. Cool. The second one is you wait for the weak low to be, we come up here and we start coming down, right? This is that weak larger internal low. So instead of just set a limit on here and buy from it, what you can wait for is you can wait for price to actually break it. Because sometimes what you'll see is price will break it. It will mitigate some more deeper in that extreme zone. Give us, you can get in long before then trying to trade it. So now you're in long. Now not worst case scenario, but let's just imagine a pullback. At least then you can remove the risk, make lower high stays, and it continues. But you've got in at the start of that pullback that you're hoping is going to turn in, right? Which is you simply just wait for the bullish high boss and you buy here with the internal structure. The second option, when it's coming back down, and then model like get along here again, like the larger barrier order flow state. At least you're basically playing that back. You can remove it, it comes back down, right? You're covered yourself, but it could turn into that because that's the movement, right? So that's your second option. That's what I mean. Play the order flow could switch. That weak run go, that weak low go, and then your low probability wise low to switch, but that here or hoping, and then it's right. formation entry leg. It's like a trap, and the move goes. But they can play. They're advanced, to think of, but yeah, they're definitely an order of importance. So let's take a look at sort of a typical example of, well, just how order can potentially help us to some losses. But we can trade against it, and when we should to see if it will shift in our just on hard time frame analysis. The 4 hour was bearish, big break of swing structure that we've had. Obviously, we expect a swing pullback. We have had 4 hour character, right? So this coming structure, and we could see a pullback. But for now, that shock, right? Well, that could just still be this sort of small, get a bit more down to the M15. Let's quickly see what string structure we are working within. So M15 swing, that last break there. So it's above that high. Let's have a quick check. And we had a bearish break to the downside. So swing perspective, signs coming in. There's increase kick in. Everywhere well, and then we have the smaller ranges with that, right, that we can see. But just on the recent ones, but you can see from order flow clearly bearish this entire time. Nice sustained textbook 4 hour level. So there's potential that this, at the very least, could see a pullback. A strong swing high. So let's come into we've got refined M15 demand to an M1 entry. So if you get your M1 entry, what we plan that is, you want to be doing it where you can get in before price really pulls into our range, because if you can get in and then price, whereas if it pulls back up to it and then coming down, right, there's been structure, no disruption of that bearish order flow. Now you're trapped 9 times out of 10 week low is going to get cool. Other thing we can do, or typically wait for on the M50 change of character. Cool. So now, okay, basically what we're doing here is M15 is bearish, and we've had we look for some long pullback, right? That's kind of the general base behind for longs. From here, with the arm, we're just going to rein it in so we focus on price. So we've had that list change of character. All right, we just do lower time frame. Had on that last range from the high to the low, drag across is obviously demand. So low range initiation, yeah, just about. So there's ranges. The larger one is the one. That's the obvious one, right? That's the next step of this, and then we get M15 bullish. Wait, what happened? So let me just play this forward. So I don't know why the cash changed it. It's kind of It wasn't like this in the live market, I can tell you that. So we definitely did get a bullish. So it's kind of messed up the order of the explanation I was going to give. There we go. See. But essentially, let's bring it back. How's that mess up again? Mess up? No. So at this point here, we had the bullish 15 chalk, right? Now, if you're going to look for longs, and you did kind of 3 levels in terms of POIs, and one that you could look at. You got this unmitigated level here. All right, and unmitigated. Now, the only one that makes sense, if you like, is the nearest one, Orderflow. So as prices are coming back in, this should be a strong protected, M1 channel low. Obviously, we don't want to read too much in just to the M1 on its own, but in terms of if you're happy with everything else you've seen in the higher time frames, if this was a type you would like, in my opinion, it's not like I would like it. In my opinion, this is the way that's going to make sense, and at least just target that weak high, right? And ideally remove your risk and see if that bullish order flow will to continue. Now, the reason why that the highest one, the price was to come down. Should we get a closure? Though to continue until what? Until it's out this week low. The start of this trend has essentially ended and failed, and that's going to come down and take out that low there. So when we see, move it forward, as you can probably get, which now means supply range. Okay, bring this in. So now anything along from here. Boom, yes, I'm off it. Gonna pass my after range, tell mum I quit my job, blah, blah, blah. Right. Oh, damn. Why did I get, I thought, M50 talking for our demand against you. What's the stuff? It's not there. The point I'm trying to drive order flow is going to rein this in. Just where it broke, come into the extreme. Now, don't get me wrong. To say that with again, why if we get long from here or we see price bounce from here, it's likely to produce a pullback in. So what would we want to see? That movement there, right? All else that you would want to see. So again, think it's going to work. It's going to work. Okay, nice. Well, because higher time, right? So that's just the things, you can leave, it's just always as prices come into a level, we've got an M15 shock, okay, now I'm going to get long these levels, and then now I'm down minus 3R, and I hate this sucks. These are the types of for, confluence or order flow to, ideally we get that break from within, okay? So we had a guy that came down into it, right, and then gave us an M1 shock, right? Shock is just what doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to get that. Now, you might want to take that because you could love everything else, but it's just unless you get the IBOS, and then we expect those, that shift in order flow to really hold and continue and potentially help you understand with your losses. So yeah, I definitely recommend going back to